right, folks, welcome back. Something pretty simple, in which I should have taught this a long time ago, but it's okay because I'm teaching it now, and I didn't even think of making this a separate video until literally like last week or something like that. But anyway, three rules of the algorithm. Okay, there's obviously three rules, like I said, and we're going to list them by significance. Ready? Three, two, one. One is seeking liquidity. Two, seeking rebalance, which is like rebalancing imbalances, referencing volume imbalances, coming back down to rebalance displacement swings, basically just rebalancing imbalances. You get the point. And then number three, which is the least significant, is rebalancing to equilibrium. Okay. Now, when it comes to all-time highs, because this is kind of sort of related to all-time highs, well, heavily related to all-time highs, or all-time high price action, what price must do, and this is universal, before it does anything, it has to complete or fulfill one of those rules, just one. Okay. Obviously, if it completes at least significant rule, it's not much of a confluence that price is ready to deliver what it wants to deliver yet. So preferably, you want to see it either rebalance and balances, or just seek rebalance or seek liquidity in the form of a liquidity purge before it delivers a narrative. Okay, those are the three rules of the algorithm that it must do before it delivers anything. Anything. If it wants to go higher on the day and end off bullish, it has to come back down and fill in some bullish for value gaps, or purge some sell-side liquidity. It has to do that because what? It's the three rules of the algorithm. The algorithm is going to be constantly doing those three things. And if it wants to do anything, it has to do what? One of those things. Now, for example, if you have a day that wants to go higher, for example, I don't know. I mean, it didn't necessarily do it around here, but let's just use this day. Let's say, for example, price wants to go lower, in which it obviously does want to go lower. If we see that the number one or the most significant rule, seeking liquidity, gets fulfilled, which will be, yeah, I guess. Oh wait, no. Actually, yeah, I didn't. I thought those were equal highs. No, they're not. Well, I might be a little retarded, but I didn't see that at first. So we can clearly see that these highs here get purged. So we have this run up here. So the most significant rule has been fulfilled. Mind you, before it does anything, it only has to do one. And the more significant of a rule that you have fulfilled before it does it is a higher chance that price is going to prepare and or stall itself from delivering that narrative. Because how can I explain this? Basically, the algorithm will tend to fulfill or satisfy as many objective as it can without being without exhausting itself so it can actually deliver the narrative. And if it does one of the most significant, what's the word? One of the most significant rules or significant objectives, then price is gonna be like, oh, the most significant, we did the most we're supposed to do. Bet I'm not gonna do any more. I'm gonna just go ahead and drop. And since it sought liquidity, guess what it has to do now? Or guess um what is it ready to do now? Is ready to drop, in which it does. That's the 11 o'clock reversal for TGIF. Reversal days. I've taught this. You get the point. So this is a pretty good example of just one out of the three rules of liquidity. Now, let me see if I can find any other examples throughout the week. Let me turn on kill zones. Mm, this is an example here. Here's a London close right there. I can turn it off. You know where it is. All right, now here we can clearly see we got a bunch of imbalances. One gap there, liquidity void here. Another gap there, another gap there, another gap there, another gap there. You get the point. This entire swing is imbalanced. Okay, there's an absence of liquidity. There's imbalances here. There's displacement, and it's going higher. So obviously, this entire swing right here, what is that? 300-point swing. It's imbalanced. So what price could do to satisfy one of the rules of the algorithm is what? Obviously, rebalance this entire swing. In which does it do that? Yep, it sure does, and it does it overnight. Well, not overnight, but before the market even opens during pre-market. So, since it moved, what, 300 points just to fulfill that objective, obviously the first 30 minutes to an hour of London, I mean, not London, but of New York is going to consolidate, in which it does exactly that. As you can see, just back and forth, whole bunch of BS. You get it, right? London close kicks in, starts manipulating, does all that BS, and yeah, yabba dabba doo doo. And then it starts jumping up. Now, let's see where the imbalances end. The imbalances end right here. Within that swing, within this entire swing, right there. Oh, I have the TGIF thing on. But within this entire swing, that's the last imbalance, in which it is in the form of a bullish fair value gap. It comes all the way down, filling every single gap within that delivery there, Okay, this was all overnight, by the way. This is all overnight price action. So it dropped all the way down to fill that last gap precisely. Look at that. Can I get any more precise? I don't think so. No. And then I think it hits this rejection block and uses that rejection block to jump higher. But basically, what I'm saying here is it came down. It didn't necessarily rebalance to equilibrium, but it rebalanced to and below it, which still counts. So it actually did two forms of or two different rules. It rebalanced to equilibrium, and when I say rebalance to equilibrium, it can either be directly at it, like price can come straight down to it and like stay around that area, or it can come down to equilibrium and below it, going down into a deep discount to go back up because it's still going below or rebalancing to equilibrium to go below it into discount. You get what I'm saying? In which it does reach a discount to fill the rest of this fair value gap. And let me see if I can get the open of that candle to that. We draw that out. Oh no, it didn't hit it. Wait, no, no, it had to. Hold on, wait. No, not there, not there. Right, no, wait, it didn't hit that. Wow, I'm surprised it didn't hit that rejection block. But hey, it got close. I'm assuming it used that what's the word? That propulsion block right there. Yeah, it did use that propulsion. So if we draw that propulsion block out right there, if I can move that thing out the way, Jesus Christ. Right here. Yep, it used that propulsion block and barely broke it. So you get the point. Two rules were accomplished here or fulfilled. We rebalanced the equilibrium, which is the least significant. In the second most significant, we rebalanced a lot of imbalances, to say the least. We had this liquidity void, we had this gap here, gap, and then even more on the higher time frames. You get the point. In which it does eventually deliver after it's done or fulfilled its requirements before delivering the narrative it wants to deliver, in which that narrative is obviously higher, or its bias is obviously higher. So before doing anything, reminder, what does it have to do? Just one of the three rules. Just one. Just one. But if it does just one, I'm going to say this one more time. If it just does one of the rules in which it does the least significant rule, there is a lower chance that price will actually deliver the narrative on time. Okay. But if you have all three rules, oh, it's guaranteed to do it on time. Guaranteed. Unless you have some sort of crazy move that happens like this overnight and it accomplishes or fulfills those narratives, not narratives, but it fulfills those objectives very, very aggressively, like 300 points overnight or something like that, then you might see it do it on time, but in a delayed fashion, meaning let's say the first hour dealing range, it may accumulate for like the first hour, 9:30 to 10:30, because it expanded so much, trying to fulfill those objectives, in which you might see it do it on time, but it delayed itself because it dropped so much just to fulfill those objectives. So you get the point. Let me see. Let me find one more example if I can. Let me go to a different day. I think there was something else I was going to say there, but I'm pretty sure you get the point. Uh, let's see what happened here. I don't think anything. Oh no, this was. Oh, okay. I see why I did this. Okay. 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 So look here. Looky here. You see how the last portion of New York purges liquidity? Now this week, this is the current week of price action. By the way, I was looking for a Tuesday low of week in which it did form. Okay, we had Monday dropping lower to create the low, and then we had Tuesday reversing higher, which is basically the Tuesday low of week. So it comes down, seeks liquidity, and I think it also, yep, rebalances and balances over here, as we can see, rebalances that gigantic liquidity void. So we completed the what is it? The top two significant rules out of the three, in which, since we've done that, price has a super, super high chance of delivering the narrative. Okay. Not even on time, but just delivering it. Okay. Because this is a elongated version of the rule completion or the objective completion. This is like over the course of like 2 days. Because you see it does it does it on Monday. And then Tuesday actually, delivers it higher. You get the point. One thing to remember is that price only needs to do one of those rules. Okay. One of those rules to what's the word, to deliver the narrative. Okay, if it wants to deliver anything or deliver your anticipated, what's the word, narrative, it has to do one of those things. Okay, seek liquidity, seek rebalance, or seek rebalance to equilibrium. Okay, now going over the chance and percentage part, let's say for example you have the three rules, right, and you expect price to go lower. Okay, not necessarily using this example in front of me, but I'm just saying like in general verbally. If you want to see price go lower, one of those rules must be completed. Let's say we seek buy side liquidity, and that's all we do. We seek buy side liquidity, which is the what's the word, the most significant rule. In which, since it did the most significant rule, there's a pretty good chance, I'll say, what word can I use to describe that? There's a decently high chance that price won't stall itself to prepare. And when I say prepare, it won't stall itself to knock out another one of the rules because the most significant one was already completed. You know what I'm saying? But for example, let's say you're expecting price to go lower and you complete the second most significant rule, which is rebalancing imbalances. There's a slight, possibly good chance that you will see price, deliver the narrative on time and not stall itself. But it's just like half and half when it comes to the second significant rule or rebalancing imbalances. You may see price stall itself to come back up and purge liquidity just to knock out that first rule and the second rule to have on top of each other so it can, deliver the narrative later on time. And basically, it's just the more significant rules you have on top of each other, or the more rules you have on top of each other, there's a higher chance that price will deliver the narrative without stalling and will do it on time. Okay. In which, if you have multiple least significant rules on top of each other, it's not going to have that much of a difference because they're mainly insignificant rules. So I think you understand what I'm saying. You're smart. If you're even here learning from me, you're pretty smart, pretty intelligent. So I don't think I have to explain that too deeply, right? Okay, you're good. Okay. This is the end of the three rules of the algorithm. I hope this was very insightful, algorithmically, of course. Um, is there anything else I need to say? No. There's nothing else. This is going on 12 minutes. Let me go ahead and end this video here so I can record the next ones, and I'll see you in the next one. Until then, good luck and good trading.